My son's black eye. The first thing I saw when he walked through the door wasn't his backpack, it was the black eye. Purple and swollen, the skin cracked just enough to show dried blood. His lip was split too, the corner crusted over. He stood there in silence, staring at me with eyes that were not his own, eyes too old, too knowing for an 8-year-old boy. "Who did this?" I asked, my voice steady, though something deep inside me began to fracture. He didn't answer. He just closed the door behind him, locked it, and pulled the curtains tight. His small hands shook as he touched each window latch. He was breathing too fast, like prey that had been running. "Dad," he whispered, "we need to move, now." The way he said it, without hesitation, without confusion, stripped the air from my lungs. I knelt in front of him, trying to meet his gaze, but his eyes kept darting around the room as if he expected someone to burst through the walls. "Who's they?" I asked. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he reached into his pocket, pulled out a folded sheet of paper, and handed it to me. The paper trembled in my hands. I unfolded it slowly. What I saw inside made my blood go cold. It wasn't a drawing, not like the stick figures he normally brought home. It was a letter, handwritten in neat cursive that was not his. At the bottom, a signature I knew too well. My wife's. The message was short, sharp. "We know where you live. He is mine. I will come for him when he's ready." I read it twice, then a third time, as though repetition would change its meaning. But the words remained, branded into me. I looked at my son, his eye, his fear, his silence. "Who gave you this?" I asked. He pressed his lips together, refusing to answer, but the way he looked at me, almost apologetic, was enough. He knew something. He'd seen something. And I began to realize I had been blind. Memories replayed themselves without permission, late-night calls my wife dismissed as work emergencies. Business trips that never matched the invoices I'd seen. The way she sometimes lingered at the window, as though expecting someone. For months, I had silenced those whispers inside me. Now they screamed. I didn't confront her immediately. That would have been foolish. Instead, I watched. For days, I observed her movements. Her phone clutched too tightly in her hand. The sudden softening of her voice when she slipped into another room. The way she erased her text history, believing I wouldn't notice the gaps. My son avoided her eyes. He stayed close to me, sleeping in my bed instead of his. When I asked him why, he only said, "I don't trust her." That sentence alone was enough to ignite something cold inside me. Quietly, I began collecting. A strand of her hair from the bathroom floor, my son's toothbrush, a sample of my own. I sent them away, packaged in silence, labeled with false names. While waiting for the results, I dug deeper. Phone records, bank transfers, a second credit card under her maiden name. Each discovery cut deeper than the last, but I didn't bleed, not outwardly. I saved the bleeding for inside, where no one could see. She never noticed my quiet surveillance. She still kissed my cheek in the mornings, still asked about my day. I played along, the mask fitting tighter each night, suffocating me, but necessary. Because beneath the suffocation was clarity. Something was coming, and I needed to be ready. The envelope arrived 3 weeks later, plain, clinical, final. I opened it alone. My hands didn't shake, not anymore. The words burned themselves into me. Probability of paternity, 0.00%. My son was not biologically mine. I sat in silence for a long time, staring at the wall, at the faint crack running along the plaster. Everything I had known fractured the same way, quietly, inevitably. That night, I placed the envelope on the dining table. No words, no explanations, just evidence. When she saw it, her face drained of color. Her lips trembled. She whispered my name like it was a plea. I didn't answer. I simply asked one question, my voice calm, measured, deadly. Who is he? Her hands shook as she covered her mouth. Tears came, excuses followed, denials. Then finally, the name. A man I had once called a friend. I listened without emotion, my face a mask of stone. Her cries filled the house, but they couldn't touch me. I was untouchable now. The next morning, I drove my son to school. I held his small hand in mine, steady, strong. When I returned, she was waiting, red-eyed, broken, desperate. She begged me to speak, to forgive, to stay. I let her talk. I let her collapse at my feet, clutching at my hands. And then, calmly, I gave her the only sentence she would ever hear from me again. He knows the truth. He will never call you mother again.
Her scream shattered against the walls, but I didn't stay to hear the rest. I had already transferred the house deed, the accounts, everything, into a trust under my son's name. Her name erased from it all. By the time she realized the depth of my preparation, it was too late. She had lost everything. That night, my son slept beside me again. His bruises were fading, but mine were not. I watched him breathe, small chest rising and falling, oblivious to the storm he had unknowingly revealed. He was not mine by blood, but he was mine by choice, and that was enough. As for her, she was already gone, dead to me, though she still lived somewhere in the city, clinging to the ruins of a life she destroyed. I felt no pity, no grief, only clarity. Betrayal is not a wound, it is a scalpel. It cuts away illusions, leaving only truth behind. And as I lay there in the dark, listening to my son's steady breathing, I understood one final brutal truth. The worst scars are not the ones we see. They're the ones we carry in silence.